Hi everybody, I'm Teresa. I'm a movement artist with the Pace Art program in Lafayette, Louisiana. Today we're going to be learning about myths. So we'll talk about the myth of King Midas and the golden touch. We'll learn about what makes a story a myth and also how to figure out what the moral or the lesson of the story is. We're also going to be learning about rhythm today and creating some rhythm patterns with movement. Then at the end of our lesson, we're going to retell the story of King Midas using rhythm and dance. The only thing that you'll need for your lesson today is some space. And remember, you can pause the video at any time you need. So let's talk about myths. So myths are traditional stories that are usually about important events that happen. Sometimes there are supernatural beings. There are usually supernatural beings in myths. So that's more than like a man or a woman. That's like a superhero, right? Like a person with super strength, or could be like a god or a goddess. Myths can reveal common hopes and feelings of people, and myths usually tell us something about the culture that created them. So today, the lesson that we'll be learning is about a Greek myth. So Greek myths tell us about Greek people, what they were like, what they valued, what kind of things they did. Myths are usually going to teach a moral lesson too. So what a moral lesson is, a moral is a type of message in a story that teaches the reader a life lesson, like how to make a decision or how to treat people. And some other ways that you can tell if a story is a myth, if there are gods and goddesses that interact with humans, that means that they either talk to humans, or sometimes there are transformations that happen too. So maybe a god or goddess might transform a human in some way. Some of the characters usually undergo some kind of change. Also, there are gods and goddesses in disguise. So in Greek myths, there are lots and lots of gods and goddesses. But there are 4 different kinds of myths. Some Greek and Roman, like we've been talking about, but there are also creation myths. So creation myths tell the story of like how the world came to be as it is, how it was created. There are nature myths. So nature myths have to do with things in nature. And then there are hero myths also. So heroes, like we were talking about before, like maybe a human with superhuman strength, or a hero is a person who goes through a journey and overcomes a lot of obstacles on their journey. So we'll learn about the myth of King Midas today, and we are going to see if we can figure out what the moral in the story is. But first we're going to switch gears and we are going to learn a little bit about rhythm. So it's time to stand up. Okay, so let's learn about rhythm. So what rhythm is, it's a strong, regular pattern of movement or sound. So you guys know about patterns, right? Patterns are something that repeat over and over again. And we can recognize them because they happen over again. That's what a pattern is. So a rhythm pattern can be with sound, or it can be with movement. And rhythm has to do with the placement of sounds or moves in time, right? So I could do some sounds, like I could clap with my hand and put them all close together like this. Okay, so all of those sounds were pretty close together in the time that I did those claps. Or I could do some sounds that are spread out farther apart. All right, so When we have a rhythm pattern, we have different timing. We might have different timing and it repeats over and over again, strong. It's like a strong pattern, all right? So let's try out some rhythm patterns together. We'll start making some sound patterns. We'll start clapping a pattern. And whenever you're ready, you can jump in. So you really want to pay attention and make sure that our sounds are syncing up at the same time. Okay, here we go. So clap with me. So sometimes when you find the pattern, your body automatically tries to move with it. Let's put that pattern in our feet now. Oh, I added a little snap. Back to our hands without the snap. So I kind of changed the pattern when we went to our feet. Ready, let's do our feet now. All right. So we're going to keep that same rhythm, but we're going to change. Now we did it with our feet, we did it with our hands. Now we're going to go into our torso. So we'll go front, back, front, back, front, back, front, back, front, back, front, back. All right. We'll add on one more little thing. So when we put different parts of moves together like this, different kinds of moves together, sometimes we call that a combination. Sometimes we can call it a phrase. I would say that this is like a combination. We're combining some different movement patterns right now. So then our last one is gonna be with our head. And we'll do a little nod, and we're gonna kind of turn our head from one side to the other. Okay, let's start with our feet. So our pattern has 4 sets of each rhythm. So we repeat 4 times before we move on to different body parts. Ready, set, here we go. Our feet, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm gonna take this snap out. But if you want to add a little move with your clap, that's your torso. I like to snap, I guess. I just did it again. Torso, back, front, back, front, back. Here we go with our nods. All right, we're going to try one more rhythm pattern with our bodies. Well, first I'll clap it out for you, and we'll do the pattern. You'll see. So here's the rhythm, here's the sound. When you get the pattern, clap it with me. Okay, for the moves, we're going to slow it down. We're going to do 2 different sets. So the first one goes up, up, both down, both up, side, side. Again, up, up, both down, both up, side, side. Again, we go up, up, both down, both up, side, side. One more, up, up, both down, both up, side, side. Okay, so that's the first part. Second part is with our shoulders. So our shoulders go up, up. Now our torso goes side, side. We're gonna leave those shoulders out. So we go up, up, torso, torso. Now this part, we're gonna bend our knees. Our hips are gonna, there's a lot going on in this part. We bend our knees. Our hips are gonna push out and our shoulders are gonna drop down. Hip, hip. Up, up, side, side, drop. Up, up, torso, torso, drop. Drop again. Up, up, torso, torso, drop. Drop. Up, up, down, up, side, side. Up, 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 up. A little faster, right? Okay, let's go slower one more time. But we're gonna see if we can increase the speed, so that's making this space in between the moves smaller, right? So we're not doing more moves, we're not doing bigger moves. We're just making the space a little less. Up, up, both down, both up, side, side. Again, that one. Up, up, both down, both up, side, side. Little faster. Up, up, both down, both up, side, side. Little faster. Up, up, both down, both up, side, side. You got it. Up, up, both down, both up, side, side. One more. Ba, 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 da, 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 da. Okay, second pattern. Slowing it down a little bit. Up, up, torso, torso. Drop, drop. We go. Up, up, torso, torso, drop, drop. Again. Up, up, torso, torso, drop, drop. 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 Again. Up, up, torso, torso, drop, drop. Up, torso, torso, drop, drop. We're gonna put those together. So we'll go one pattern, then the other pattern. Ready, set. Here we go. Oh, let me give you a little rhythm first. Why don't you clap it with me? That'll give you our tempo. Ready? So first pattern into the second pattern. Ready, set, here we go. Ba 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 ba. Again. Ba 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 ba. All right, so that's rhythm. Great job, guys. Okay, guys, that was a lot of fun. Now it is time to learn about King Midas. So I have this book here. It's called Greek Myths. And this is actually my son's book. And it's by Ingrid. I may be mispronouncing this. If I am, my apologies. Ingrid and Edgar Parent-Dolaire, Book of Greek Myths. So this is a really cool book. It tells lots of Greek myths and it has great illustrations. This illustration right here is of the Greek gods, and it kind of shows their family tree. So let's learn about King Midas. Now, there are a couple of different versions of the story of the Golden Touch, King Midas and the Golden Touch, and there are a couple of different myths about King Midas, but we're only going to learn about this one, the Golden Touch. And so there's some pictures here, but the pictures mostly have to do with a different myth about King Midas, but you can see King Midas right here. Okay, all right, let's see what this says. King Midas was a kind man who had always been a friend to the Phrygian satyrs. So a satyr is a kind of creature in myths that's half man and half goat. One morning, his servants had found an old satyr sleeping in the king's favorite flower bed. Midas had spared the satyr from punishment and let him go. This old satyr was a follower of Dionysus, and the god had rewarded Midas for his kindness by granting him a wish. So Dionysus is a Greek god. He's the god of wine and of truth. Short-sightedly, King Midas wished that everything he touched would turn to gold. His golden touch made him the richest man on earth. But he almost starved to death, for even his food and drink turned to gold. And when his little daughter ran to him to hug him, she too turned to gold. Midas had to beg Dionysus to undo his wish and make everything as it had been before. Okay, so King Midas had rose gardens at his home, and he found an old satyr in his rose garden. So a satyr is a creature, right? A mythological creature that's half man, half goat. And in other versions of the story, the satyr ends up being Dionysus, who is the the Greek god of wine, Dionysus' teacher. So the Seder and King Midas, well, King Midas is very kind to the Seder, and he invites the Seder to stay at his home for like 10 days. And then at the end of the 10 days, King Midas goes with the Seder to bring him home, and that's where he meets Dionysus. And Dionysus really appreciates the kindness that King Midas shows to the Seder, and he says, you know what? I'll grant you a wish. That was very kind. Thank you so much. I'll grant you a wish. And King Midas is like, wow, that's so awesome. I wish everything that I touched would turn to gold. So he makes this wish kind of quickly, right? So he makes this wish kind of quickly, and he's really excited at first, and he's running around, and he's like, boop, turn that to gold, boop, turn that to gold, boop, now that's gold, that's gold, that's gold. And he's just amazed at his new superpower. So that's another way that we know this is a myth, right? Because he's got supernatural powers now. So he's got the power to turn things to gold. But King Midas sits down, it's dinner time, he's got his fork, whoops, that turns to gold, his plate turns to gold, all of this stuff, and he goes to take a bite of food, and when the food touches his teeth, also turns to gold. So that's a big problem. Why is that a problem? That's a problem because people need to eat food to survive, right? So King Midas's wish caused him to turn everything into gold, even things that he maybe needs to not be gold, right? And so in some versions, there's the part about his daughter, and other versions, there's not a part about his daughter. So King Midas realizes his mistake, and he goes back to Dionysus, and he says, can you please help me and take my wish away? Because he realized that he will die if he can't eat food, right? He can't eat gold food. So he realizes he'll die. And Dionysus grants his second wish, and he tells him to take all of the things that he had turned to gold and bring them to this special river and wash them off. And once they're washed off, they will turn back to the way that they naturally were. Okay, so now how do we figure out what the moral of the story is, right? What is let's remember what a moral means. So a moral is a life lesson that the reader can learn. So the reader, that's like us, because we just heard the story. And it's a life lesson that can be about how to treat people, or maybe making decisions. So in the story, we can think about how King Midas treated people and the decisions that he made to kind of give us a clue about what the moral might be. So the way that he treated people, or satyrs, right? Because the other character in this story was a satyr. He was really kind to the satyr. He let the satyr stay at his house, and he brought the satyr back home safely. The other person that he interacted with was a god, was Dionysus, right? And the god was very kind to him. He gave him a wish. And then later, he asked kindly to take his wish back. So the way that he treated people was pretty good. It was pretty good. Let's think about what kind of decisions he made. So what decisions did King Midas make in the story? The first decision that he made was to let the satyr stay at his house. Was that a good decision? It was a pretty good decision. He got a wish out of the deal, right? And he was being kind. He was being a kind person. So the other decision that he makes, the next decision that he makes is about what kind of wish he wants. So when Dionysus asks him what kind of wish he would like, he very quickly makes his decision. He said, I wish to have a superpower where if we touch something, it turns to gold. Aha. So he makes a quick decision. Does he think about the consequences of his decision? Not really. He didn't think the whole thing through. Because if he thought about that, he would probably know, well, I might have to touch some things that I don't want to turn to gold. But he didn't think about that. So maybe one of the life lessons would be that it's good to think before you act. If you're making a decision, it might be important to think it through before you make the decision. Think about what the consequences could be. Other people say sometimes that this decision, or that the moral of the story is to not be greedy, right? So I'm not really sure about this, because I don't think King Midas was really taking anything from anybody else. So in some versions of the story, it does say that King Midas had plenty of money already, so he didn't need any more gold. So that kind of makes sense, that even, why would you wish for gold if you already had plenty of it? But I do think it makes sense. I do think that King Midas learns to be grateful for what he does have already. So maybe he wishes for gold because he thinks gold is like the coolest, most awesome, important thing. But there are other things that he needs in his life to survive, and he might not have been thinking about those things, or he might not have thought that they were as cool as or as important. But there are all kinds of things in our life that are important, like the food that we eat and the house that we live in and the family and the friends that we have, right? So after this happened, King Midas might have been grateful to have everything that he has in his life. And I bet he was very grateful to Dionysus for taking his wish away so he could touch things without them turning to gold. So we are going to retell that story using some moves. But first, we're going to take a look at those lessons and see if we can do some moves in a rhythm pattern that have to do with the moral of the story. Before we get back to moving again, let's actually work on retelling the story. So I want to show you something that you can use to help you retell a story. It's not the only way you can do it, but this is one thing that you can do, and it's called using the 5 W's. Sometimes the 5 W's are called reporters' questions. So they are who, what, when, where, and why. So these can tell us like the main points or the main ideas of a story. So if you start off with these 5 questions, sometimes it's easy to fill in the details afterwards. So who is our story about? Our story is about King Midas. So we're going to use these 5 W's to help us retell the story in our dance today. King Midas. Okay, what happens? He turns everything to gold. Things to gold. All right. When? Well, so this was like a long time ago in ancient Greece. A long time ago. I hope you guys can read at least some of this. And that's a G right there. Boop. Where did this happen? Okay, well, it happened in ancient Greece. And why did this happen? So the why is kind of connected to the moral of the story. Why did King Midas turn things to gold? Well, he made a wish, and he didn't think before he acted. Let's put made a wish for right now, because we're going to have other parts of our dance that have to do with the moral of the story, right? We're going to repeat a rhythm pattern for that. All right, so we're going to retell what happens in the story of King Midas using the 5 W's and using our bodies, okay? So we're going to use our bodies to tell about what happens through moves. And then we're going to make a pattern, a rhythm pattern, to tell about what the moral of the story is. So our first thing was our who. The who was King Midas. That's who the story's about. So we're going to kind of just keep a little rhythm going the whole time. So you can just like do a little step, you know. So we're going to do who, King Midas, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so that's a move to show that he's wearing a crown. It's a tall crown, I guess. So we're going to bring it up like this. So our who is King Midas. We go King Midas, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So what he does is turn things to gold. So we're going to do a move like this, sparkling, like glittering gold, like this. Turns things to gold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. When? Well, it was a long, long time ago. Most myths happened long, long ago. So we're going to do a long 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We'll use this gesture for time ago. Time ago. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's do all of that. That's our who, our what, our when. Ready, set, here we go. King Midas, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Turns things to gold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. A long 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Time ago. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So when in ancient Greece, so that was kind of a tricky one for me to think of a move of, but then I realized I'm like wearing a toga like, you know, people used to wear back in the day in ancient Greece. So we're going to do a move to show like our toga that we're wearing. So in ancient Greece, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And why did he turn things to gold? Because he made a wish. So we're going to do he made a wish, like you're wishing on a star, I guess. So he made a wish. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So we had in ancient Greece, so we're going to tell about our toga here. In ancient Greece, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He made a wish. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, probably got all that. Let's try putting all of those things together. Our who, what, when, where, why. Ready, set, and we have King Midas. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Turns things to gold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Long time ago. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In ancient Greece. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He made a wish. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we're just going to clap our rhythm pattern out first. 4 times. It repeats. If you want to stomp instead of clap, you can stomp instead of clap. You can have fun with it, right? So we said the moral of the story, that there were kind of 2 morals. One moral was to think before you act, and the next lesson in the story was to be grateful for all you have, right? So that's something that King Midas learned. So we're going to we're going to do our moves in that rhythm. But when we're learning moves, it's really important to learn them slow first. Do it slowly first until you've got all the moves down, and then you can go a little faster. So the first thing is think before you act. So we're going to think. Bum, 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 before we act. Bum, bum, bum. Think before we act. And then the next part is that we're going to be grateful for all we have. So we're going to do a bow. That's a way to say thank you, to be grateful, right? So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 for all we have here. And our foot and our arm is going to come out, but it kind of goes in a little circle for all we have, yeah? So here, So that last part is to be grateful for all we have. All right, so let's put those together. We've got to think before we act and be grateful for all we have. Okay, that was a little extra. All right, so let's try that rhythm pattern a little bit faster. Then we're gonna go through all the moves together. All right, here we go. We've gotta think before we act and be grateful for all we have. All right, we're going to do all of that from the top, and then we're gonna try it with some music. You ready? Ready, set, here we go. King Midas, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, turns things to gold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a long time ago. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in ancient Greece. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He made a wish. 2, 3, 4. Here goes our rhythm 4 times. Ready? Here we go. Gotta think. Bum, 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 bum. Oh, it's fast. Think before we act. Be grateful for what we have. Then you can freestyle if you want. We're gonna try that with some music. Let's do it.
Golden child with no wild black eyes.
Here we go, 5, 6, with our who? King Midas, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, turns things to gold. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, a long time ago. In ancient Greece, he made a wish. 5, 6, here's our rhythm pattern. Here we go. 5, 6, 7, 8. Gotta think. Let's do that part 2 times in a row. Ready? Here we go. All right, whole thing one more time.
Someone faced by the world's blue sky, thinking of a master plan. Sing aloud and they multiply. Happy smiles on the van.
Okay guys, thanks for joining me. Wow, we learned about so much stuff today. We learned about myths, We learned the myth of King Midas and the golden touch. We learned about rhythm and how to make rhythm patterns with moves and sounds. We learned about using the 5 W's to help us retell a story, and we learned what the moral of a story is and how to tell what the moral or lesson of a story is. That is a lot of stuff. I had a lot of fun. I hope you did too. Don't forget, we'll be posting a new lesson every day at 10 a.m. on the Acadiana Center for the Arts YouTube channel. There will be a lesson for kindergarten, for 1st grade, and for 2nd grade. You can also get these lessons on AOC as part of the Learn United program, accessible on AOC on Cox Channel 16 or LUS Channel 4. Kindergarten lessons air at 8 a.m. and 1st and 2nd grades at 9 a.m. Some lessons will be in visual arts and some in creative movement, so be sure to come back and make some more art tomorrow. If you're interested in supporting programs like this, you can visit acadianacenterforthearts.org. Acadiana Center for the Arts is the nonprofit who manages the PACE program. Spread the word, share our videos, and keep making art. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.